I want to thank Alex and Jordan. This conference is fantastic. I'm really excited to be here again. And the last time I was here, I came as the chief nester, which is our core brand of property management services. We manage just about 900,000 properties in the District of Columbia. We've been very focused on an urban setting, high density living. And Nest was my second major career. I had a nice long background in nonprofit management. And I got really tired of the tall order of needing to change the world. And I decided I would rather change lives by really working with people in their homes. And I think that that's a serious privilege for us to be able to impact people every single day where they live. So you can take the girl out of the nonprofit, but you can't take the nonprofit out of the girl. And so we launched Nest to truly impact our community and impact lives. And I'm coming back today as the chief flockster. So I alluded to some changes that we were making as a company when I was here the last time. We talked a lot about brand. We talked a lot about customer relationships and authenticity, talking about our team, talking about creating community. And none of that has changed. But what has sort of changed over the years is that we've decided to build out our brands and introduce new products that help us get to a greater level of profitability and to actually increase our community impact. So we introduced Roost DC, which is our, let me get to our birds here. We introduced Roost DC, which is our second bird up here. It's the rooster. It's pretty obvious. Roost is our second brand that launched 4 years ago as an employee-owned company. Nest is just rounded out 10 years, and Roost was really the brainchild I had when I realized that we had gone from a scrappy, by the seat of our pants, not really making any money, me not making any money, company to one that was actually sustainable. And as a kid that grew up with really no resources, the idea that I didn't have to stress every single day about where I was going to make a living was completely novel, and it created a sense of comfort that I really just didn't know existed. And I looked around the room and I thought, you know what, there's no way for me to do this without the team in this room. And I want to create an ownership opportunity for those folks. But I didn't want to split Nest up. So we launched Roost, which manages associations throughout the city. And we have about 100 buildings that we manage in Washington, D.C. And that is an employee-owned product. We have 15 employee owners of that company. And we'll do about $1.5 million in business this year, which we're really excited about. And our third brand, Starling, is our latest bird. And we do in-house maintenance and turnover work. We create resident-ready spaces. And all three of these started to confuse people. They're like, what's the difference between Nest and Roost and Starling? And so what we did is we created a roll-up company, and we called ourselves Flock, which is a number of birds of one kind. And the advantage to that is we can start adding more birds without confusing people. So you'll start to see, I hope the next time I'm here, we might have a new bird up there. And all of our products and programs have really been about high quality customer service, high quality spaces and places, and we're a values-based company. So the idea has always been, if you have an exceptional space, you're going to attract an exceptional tenant or resident. And when people care about where they live, they make better neighbors. And when people are better neighbors, you have better neighborhoods. So the idea was really simple. We focused on high quality customer service and exceptional spaces. And we really wanted to make a difference. So having community impact was number one on the list of priorities for us as a company, which is a novel approach, but one that consistently worked for us, in particular because we attracted a millennial talent pool that we all know cares a lot about making sure that their work has impact. And so to that extent, it was easier for us to, I think, attract and maintain and retain talent that bought into what we're doing. But at the end of the day, we wanted to make some money. And this talk is different because I usually like to do talks that are very story-based. And that's probably because I had more stories than data. But thanks to Jordan in particular, this was one of the first years when we've been able to really drill down into the statistics that kind of highlight whether or not this model that we have is working. And I've always measured profit not in dollars in the door, but the high quality jobs that we've been able to generate through the work that we do. And to that extent, we've always been really profitable. We've always had exceptional benefits. We've had exceptional property. We have a brand that people are attracted to. The community knows that we're interested in making a difference. So for me, the sort of soft profit tools and data points were always there. But at the end of the day, we kind of want to know if we're making a living. And I know our team we're making a living, but what is the trajectory and sustainability for the company overall? So and I gave this, you guys will like the slide deck, which Mark did here. He's with me. And I did a dry run with my staff the other day, and they couldn't pay any attention because they're just looking at pictures of themselves. So we wanted to figure out, like, are we profitable? So we took a lot of the data that they put together for the NARPM conference a couple months ago, which was fantastic. And we went through some of these data points that I think everybody's really intrigued by and interested in, and we all should be, right? Because we're in business, we're not just in the business of changing the world. So the industry average among the sort of lower performing property management companies and the higher performing management companies is 10%, and this is what we did in the last year. I'm super excited about this number, and I think anybody would be excited about that number, and you see everybody celebrating in the background. That is a stuffed version of a bird that I have, because now we have 2 offices, and they thought I'd be sad if the bird was in one place. So they made me a stuffed version of the bird for the other office. And that's culture. So this is what the average per unit revenue is for the sort of across the board. Industry standard is $1,859, and our profit is $30.83 to $58.20 when we include maintenance. And I can say I'm not exactly sure how we factor the maintenance piece into tracking income, but for us, it's a huge profit center for us, and it's with a lot of tiers. The average industry churn is about 25%. Our churn is 13%, between 12 and 13. We have a portfolio of properties that are really driven by the accidental landlord. Someone moves into DC, and again, we only manage in DC proper. They buy their first condo, they live in it for a little while, and then they move on. They have kids, they move into the suburbs, or they do whatever they need to do, but they think, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and keep this unit in my portfolio, and then they engage us to manage that. So we have people generally will move back into their units if they're foreign service, and or they'll sell when the market's good and they need to cash out. Our leasing fees as a percent of revenue are 17.7%. We think that has a lot to do with the number of units that we onboard annually, and the industry average is 13%. And our growth for Starling and Nest, which are rolled up into one entity, is 47%, which I'm thrilled with over the last 4 years. And I was really excited about this until I was doing a data point the other day for Roost, which is not factored into this because we do association management. And the 4-year growth for Roost was 947%. And then I felt sad about this number. But it's sort of a different thing. So we look at labor. Everybody talks a lot about labor. It's tricky for us to really sort of drill into how we manage our labor because I think we do things very differently. We're departmentalized, but we're also team-based. We have a lot of crossover of talent between the different business units, and so it can be hard for us to sort of identify what it truly takes for us to manage our units. But as it stands, when we compare to the industry, we are a little bit more efficient than our peers in the world. And then we went from 14 FTEs in 2014 to 36. It's actually 37 today, which gives me a little bit of anxiety. But I'm thrilled because, again, I'm still measuring our success as a company and the number of great jobs that we create, and I know that these are great jobs. And our projected growth for this year is around 30%, which we're thrilled with. So we're doing more forecasting, we're drilling into our data, we're looking at standards in terms of how we manage our accounting, and we're just getting a lot more polished in terms of how we manage our growth, our talent pool, and our portfolio overall. And we do that, and I'm gonna get to the authentic client-customer relationship. We do that because we're laser focused on customer service, and we think about our customers not just as the owners of the properties, but we think of the customers as our residents and as our team members. So Chris did a really great slide the other day or yesterday where he talks about vendors being clients, team members being clients, owners being clients, and then your residents being clients. And we've always felt that way. And we felt like this industry could use a makeover. And that's exactly what we intended to do, was do things really differently with this high touch, highly focused, customer service oriented approach to management we thought was missing from the field, and it was certainly missing from the environment that we had been working in. So we're customer forward every single day. It's part of our brand. But in order for us to pull that off, we have to have strategies for that. So we have a saying in the office, we solve problems cheerfully every day. It's really hard to be cheerful with some of the problems that we're solving. But when you try and have that mindset and you're reinforcing that with your team constantly and you're helping them realize they're fully supported in solving those problems, then you can get to that space. We talk about working with our clients as if they're the only client that we have. So when I go out for a sales meeting or I'll talk about our work, people will say, well, how many units do you manage? I'm like, it doesn't really matter because this is the only one that actually matters right now. And so we don't want people to think that volume waters down service. So we try not to actually highlight that when we're talking to people that we're going to be working with. So obviously in this setting, it's valuable. But in the one-on-one interactions that we're having with people that want to work with us, it's really irrelevant because we want them to feel like they're the only one in the room. We also have a really highly curated portfolio. So we focus on high quality units and spaces that we would want to live in ourselves. That makes a big difference. And this is probably the most valuable data point that I have, 11 evictions in 10 years. 11. And I can tell you about half of those were properties that we transitioned, meaning that we didn't select those tenants. And when we're not evicting people, it means that we're able to spend more of our time delivering a high quality customer experience to people. When you're evicting people, it is a loser. You're spending lots of time, energy, and emotional energy on someone that you don't want to work with instead of the people that you do want to work with. So by making sure that we're only taking on properties that are super high quality, it means that we're going to attract people that want to take care of their spaces, pay their rent on time, and be good people to work with. And to do that, to attract those tenants and the properties and the units, we have to make sure that we have talent that cares about delivering a one-of-a-kind exceptional experience every single time. And that means we have to take really good care of them. So we do profit sharing, which I know is a novel concept. We did $270,000 in profit sharing last year among the 3 business units. And technically, I guess that could be my money. But for me, the value is in the growth of the value of the company and less so in what I can take out at the end of the day. So I want to give back most of our profits to the team that's actually making these dreams come true. And it works. So we've had a lot of longevity. We attract high quality talent from all different kinds of industries and they stay for a long time. And we've also got a program called Birdseed that we launched last year. It's a microgrant program. Our team members can collaborate on how we want to create microgrant programs for doers, makers, and disruptors. We give $2,500 microgrants away 4 times a year. And we're going to be growing that program as we go forward. This is great because this is marketing, but we give the money to people that need it instead of giving the money to put up an ad. So it achieves the same result, which is visibility and high impact, but it means but the person that's actually like getting the check at the end of the day is someone that's going to put a mural up on the side of the building or someone that's going to put a bicycle repair station up in a neighborhood that doesn't have access to those resources. And those are all things that we funded, including a tractor, which was kind of a cool thing to give. We can also get to great numbers because we have a highly transient demographic. DC has a lot of movement. It's a pretty novel environment to work in that we benefit from. High density. We don't have to spend a lot of time in the car because everything's really close by, so we're not losing dollars in time that way. And high rents, but at the same time, even though there are higher rents, our team members pay higher rents as well. So that's kind of a wash. We have to pay higher salaries so that we can accommodate the high cost of living in DC. And we invest in making sure that our clients are having, a great experience with us, from sending them holiday gifts of, locally made pies to notes thanking them for, working with us. Everything's really heavily branded. We work really hard to make sure that we have that heavy, high touch, highly personalized relationship with the people that we work with. And I think that that goes a long way, in the same way that having that high touch personal relationship with our team goes a long way. And we believe that happier people and better places and spaces get to that greater profit level. And I'm pretty thrilled that I was able to sort of anchor this culture piece and this philosophy and vision and mission piece and what the data actually looks like for us. Because while I've always thought, oh, well, we're onto something here, we're creating an exceptional workspace, we're winning, great places to work surveys, we know we have longevity among talent, but is it actually penciling out? Is it a viable business model? And I've been really thrilled in these last 18 months when we've been laser focused on pulling that data and doing a deep dive on whether or not we're thriving. And the answer is yes, this is working, and we think it can get even better. So I want to thank you guys for having me. I'm going to be doing an hour-long deep dive breakout session at noon, or at 11? Soon. So I would love to talk more about that, and that's when I'm gonna sort of get into my storytelling. I have some really great examples of things that we've done to truly engage with clients in a novel way, truly engage with our team members in a novel way, and I think you all might get a lot out of it. So, and I'm interested to hear if other people have ideas or questions as well. So thank you very much.